Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rahamat and today we'll be drafting the Batwing dress. So first off, you want to draft your basic bodice, but remember to add a ½ inch allowance to only the bust area. So this is my basic bodice already drafted. It has only the bust dart, it has no waist dart. So the first thing you want to do is to go to where you have your shoulder slope and measure up. So take note that I'm using a smaller size, but you want to go up from where you have your shoulder slope by a ½ inch. Quarter of an inch is going to be okay for a standard size. Then you can mark down from that point. So I'll be trying to give you some values for standard sizes, but then for some you have to make your estimate by yourself, so you want to make sure to watch the video properly without skipping. So for the neckline, I've opened up my pattern. Remember, it has an off the shoulder on one sleeve. So on one side of the sleeve, I'll go to where I had my shoulder slope on the line I drew, and I'll mark 1.52 to 2.5 inches for a standard size. And the other side of the sleeve, I just want to mark ½ inch away from where I had my original neckline. So now I'm going to connect those 2 points. You want to use a little bit of curve, not so curvy. I'm using the straighter part of my curve to connect those points. So this is what the neckline looks like now. I can go ahead and fold back my pattern and then I'll work on the sleeve area. So you want to already know the length of the sleeve you want making. So from the armhole depth, you want to go out by 1 inch or 1¼ inch, and then you would blend that point to your under bust line. You want to make sure to do this with a curve. So for the sleeve, you put in the length of your sleeve starting from the point on your shoulder where you had your shoulder slope. Here I'm going to be using a sleeve length of 3.5 inches. And I will be connecting that point to my armhole. So I've gone ahead to highlight the lines. So the next thing you want to do is to open up your pattern and cut the neckline. Remember, it's an off the shoulder on one hand, but before we finish cutting the neckline, we're supposed to have traced out the entire shoulders. So using my tracing wheel, I'm going to trace out the shoulder so that we'll have the markings at the other parts of our pattern. So now I'll be marking out the line I traced on the other side of the pattern. And then I'll go ahead and continue cutting. So after cutting, this is what it looks like, and these are the points of the neckline. So as you can see from the style we are illustrating, there is a drape pleat from one shoulder to the other. The measurement I'm using here is based on the size I'm working with, so you can go ahead to choose your own measurements also, and then you'll be connecting to the other side of the shoulder, and then I'll connect those 2 points. So the video is just to guide you on the illustration, so you want to adjust the measurements based on the size you're working with. So now we'll be moving our darts. We have the right dart and the left dart. So we'll be moving the right dart to the left shoulder and the other dart to around the right waistline. If you don't know how to move that, please indicate in the comment comment section so I can do a separate video on how to move that. So you want to come out from the first line we drew by 1 inch or 1 1/4 and connect it with a curve. Not too much curve, just a slight curve. I'll be leaving a link in the description box of this video where you can contact me in case you have a pattern you need me to help you draft. So now we're going to be cutting through this line. We have line 1, 2 and 3. So starting with the third dart, you want to slash it up till the bust point, and then we'll be folding that dart, transferring our dart to the side we just slashed open. So I'm going to be taping that down. Now we're going to be slashing the second line up to the bust point. And we would be closing up the dart also, transferring the dart to the shoulder. If you are new to darts and dart transfer, you want to make sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell because I will be dropping a video on rules and guidelines of dart transfer. So the next thing you want to do is to put a paper underneath the third dart and tape it down. And now you want to fold the first dart to make the second dart like so that you'll be able to cut the excess paper. So you want to make sure that the dart legs are meeting up and aligning. So you want to make sure that they are well aligned like you see me doing, and then you can go ahead and now cut. If you want more detailed tutorials on how to do this, you want to make sure to subscribe and turn on your notification bell, as subsequently I'll be posting a video explaining more details on that. Now you want to cut off the excess paper at the back. Here you want to repeat the same thing you did for the first dart also. You're going to put a paper underneath and tape it down, and then you align the dart legs and cut. As you can see, it's well aligned. So now I can go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting, this is what it looks like. You want to just go ahead to cut off the extra paper at the back, the excess paper at the back. Now you go ahead to slash the third line we drew. Now you want to make sure you don't cut all the way through, but if it's separates, no problem, you can just tape it down. Now you want to spread a little bit, not too much. Like I said, I can't tell you the exact measurement you should use here. I can only tell you not to spread so much. You're going to spread according to the size you are using, the measurement you are using. Then you want to tape that down. You want to tape it all the way. Now the next thing you want to do is to fold your dart. You're going to fold your darts, aligning the dart leg, and then you cut. We're also going to be cutting out the excess paper around, and after cutting, this is what we have. So the next thing you want to do is to rule a line from one part of your pattern to the other like so. The line should not be so curvy. It shouldn't be that curvy. So I'm rolling from a little bit below my armhole on one side towards a little bit above the waistline on the other side. So you can use this to guide yourself, and I'll be using the straighter part of my ruler, and I will draw a straight line also below the first line we drew. Now we have two lines drawn. We are going to be cutting through those lines. We're going to be cutting through those lines, starting with the first line we've drawn. Now after that, you want to put a paper underneath. You want to already draw a straight line on one side of the paper. This will enable us to align our pattern pieces, because now we have two separate pieces. This will enable us to align the two pieces to make sure they are well aligned. So after aligning the top pattern, we want to tape it down. So after taping that down, you want to align the other half of the pattern. The difference between this point and the other point should be equal. So you want to make sure to measure. So whatever distance you're taking, remember it should not be too wide, and also have in mind that this is a small pattern, is a miniature size, so you don't want to um copy all the measurements I'm putting in. So you should have the same measurement you had at the right hand side also on the left hand side. So you want to tape it down and cut off the excess paper you have around. So after cutting, this is what we have. What you want to do now is to align the both legs. So you want to align the both parts of the paper, this leg and the other leg. You want to make sure they are touching each other at the back. You align it properly and then you can cut it out. While cutting, make sure you don't touch the other darts. You just want to cut the area you just folded. You want to repeat the same thing on the other side. Now this is what we have. You want to go ahead to cut the excess paper at the back. So now we'll be cutting on the other line and we'll repeat the same process. So this is what we have for the front. So let's go ahead and alter the back. So for the back, on the shoulder slope, you want to go ahead to go up from that point by whatever amount you had marked for the front. So you want it to be the same, and you want to mark that all the way. So you want to come in with your tracing wheel and trace that line onto the other side. So now you want to open up your pattern paper and mark out the tracing you made. So now you want to mark out your off the shoulder neckline area. So from where you had your shoulder slope, you want to mark out the same thing you did at the front bodice. You want to mark out the same thing here. And on the front I did 1.5 inches, and also here I'm going to be doing 1.5. Remember, you should use the same thing you have used for your front. Use the same thing at the back. So for the other side of the neckline, you want to also go out by the amount you've done for the front. So basically the back neckline and the front neckline must be the same. Then you can place your curve. Remember, you don't want to use a very curvy part. You want to use the straighter part of your curve. Then you can connect those 2 points. Now you can fold back your pattern and continue your alteration. On the armhole, you want to go out at the armhole depth by the amount you went out for the front, and you want to mark that. Now you also want to measure your sleeve length. So I'll be taking the same sleeve length I had, starting my measurements from where I had my shoulder slope, and I'll mark. For this measurement I did 3.5 for the front, and here I'm doing 3.5. So I would connect from my armhole depth with a curve, and just blend it into my side line. Now I'll go ahead and complete my sleeve. So now I'll be cutting. So after cutting, this is what it looks like. So the next thing you want to do is to draw two slightly curvy lines across the bodice like you did for the front. It should not be too curvy, just a little bit curvy like so. Then you're going to mark. So the next thing you want to do is to bring back your front pattern and measure from the end of your sleeve to where you had your first slash leg. So you want to measure that because we're going to be doing the same slash at the back. So for mine I had 3/4 of an inch, so I'll be marking that. Remember, your measurements will vary because I'm using a miniature size to do this illustration. So you're going to draw a line from the point you mark to the other side of your shoulder. On the other side of your shoulder, you just want to set your curve to touch the shoulder point, and then you can mark. So now we have lines 1, 2 and 3, and we'll be slashing through those lines like we did for the front part. So starting with the first line, you want to go ahead to slash the first line, and then after slashing you would put a paper underneath, align it, and then go ahead to tape it down. We are basically going to be doing the same thing we did in the front. We are going to be doing the same thing at the back also. So you want to make sure that the distance between the two parts are equal from one side to the other. So you want to make sure the both pieces are well aligned over here, and then you can tape it down. So here we're just going to be doing the same thing we did when we slashed the front. So I'll go ahead and do it and show you what it looks like. So now this is what we have. Remember I said it's the same procedure as what we did in front. Now we want to go ahead to slash the third line. We'll be slashing it and doing the same thing we did for the line in front also. So you just want to follow the same procedure we did at the front bodies because it's the same thing here at the back. So guys, it might be looking as though it's difficult right now, but with a few more practice you'll find it very easy. So you just want to go ahead and cut all the extra paper and then align. After aligning, you can then go ahead and cut the excess. So for this style, the zipper can be at the side if need be. So we are done. This is what we have for the back, and here is the front. You just want to go ahead before sewing, you just want to go ahead and pleat these areas. That's after transferring it to your fabric. Pleat those areas in and pin it down. Do the same thing for the other side and also for the back, and then you can join both back and front and sew. Take note that this tutorial is just to the half length, it doesn't include the skirt part. So that will be all for our tutorials today. Thank you for watching.